What's up, YouTube? How do you break the plateau? You are working your ass off at the gym and your chest is not growing. Do you want to build a V-taper? In the early days of the Arnold era, training muscle groups on separate days gained significant popularity, while full body training became less common in bodybuilding. Ultimately, the first true split training system was the one Arnold popularized himself, known as the Antagonistic training split. This involved training the chest and back or torso in one session, the shoulders and arms in other, and finally the entire lower body or legs in a third workout. Arnold's routine consisted of training 6 days a week, focusing on chest and back on Mondays and Thursdays, shoulders and arms on Tuesdays and Fridays, and legs on Wednesdays and Saturdays. He would take Sundays off for rest day. Anyway, Arnold would begin his training with light weights for 15 to 20 reps to get a pump, followed by pyramiding up weight while decreasing reps, often starting with 70-80% effort. Generally, 3-4 sets are sufficient to prepare for heavy compound lifts. Arnold gave an example of warm-up in his book Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding, where he starts warm-up with empty bar for approximately 15 to 20 reps. Then second set is about 50% of working weight for approximately 5 to 8 reps. Then progressing on 75% of working weight for approximately 2-3 reps, and lastly fourth set with 90% of working weight for 1 to 2 reps. So I did something similar for my warm-up. Even though I'm not moving very heavy weights anymore. Well, you ask why? Well, as I'm 50 years old and I tend to lock my ego in the car when going to the gym. After warming up and filling the target muscle with blood and nutrients, I am ready to start first working set on the incline bench. This exercise targets upper chest area. Let's not forget that the steeper bench angle will shift load from the upper pecs to the anterior or front delts. Here I'm watching elbows and trying not to flare them out to 90 degrees, as this will put excessive stress on the shoulder joints. Instead, I tuck elbows to about 45-60 degrees angle to the torso. Full range of motion can be applied here, aiming for a deep stretch at the bottom of the movement and then driving dumbbells up. Of course, you're not locking elbows at the top, as this will put stress on the joints and shortens time under tension, which I don't want. Some lifters would overarch the lower back, or they lift the butt off the seat. This would indicate too much weight is used, and also dropping the weight rapidly on the negatives would reduce time under tension. The antagonistic split became the standard for pre-contest training during the 60s and 70s. Similar to how most professionals today focus on one body part per training session. Back then, it was all about the antagonistic split. When I mentioned that the antagonistic split was a pre-contest split, I mean that it was specifically how they trained leading up to competitions back then, so preparing for Mr. Olympia or Mr. World. Contrary to popular belief, they typically spend much less time in the gym at certain times of the year, sometimes as little as 3 to 5 days a week. Vertical chest press. A vertical chest press machine targets the pectorals, shoulders and triceps. The machine is better for isolating the muscles and is performed using a fixed movement path, so it's safer than classic bench press with a bar. You'll never see me doing bench press anymore as I've got older, and the reason is that the risk to reward ratio is high, and all pec tears happen on the flat bench press. You can notice that the machine has a converging path at the top, so it's going like together. This way I can feel better squeeze on concentric movement. Really, focusing on the squeeze at the top and full range of motion for a deep stretch on eccentric movement. I had a hard time to adjust the height of the seat as the pin for the seat is half broke. So the seat drops down during exercising. Anyway, sometimes you have to work with what you have. Some lifters would push the weight too much forward, and this way overextending shoulders and rolling them forward. And also don't lock your elbows at the top of the movement, as this shifts stress from the muscles to the joints. Okay, dumbbell chest flies. Okay, moved on to the last exercise for chest, and this is a great finisher, dumbbell flies. Isolation exercise primarily targeting the pectoralis major. Oh, well, it also heavily involves anterior deltoids, as in all the pressing movements. Some mistakes I have seen. Some lifters are bringing the dumbbells together at the top. This will cause a lot of tension on the chest muscles, so don't bring the dumbbells together at the top. The same mistake would be locking elbows. If you keep arms completely straight or locked out, then you will stress your shoulder and elbow joints. So keep a slight bend in the elbows to protect joints and keep tension on the chest. Some lifters, by using too much weight, are losing control of the exercise, and they turn flies into sort of like a half bench press, sort of. By keeping the shoulders pressed back against the bench, you will prevent rounding shoulders forward and taking over the movement by taxing delts and reducing chest activation. Arnold would sell his training programs that he advertised in Muscle Builder magazine in September 1975. He had 9 courses called Secrets of the 70s that were illustrated workout programs, diet tips, and photos. Each course costing $3, and if you bought a complete set, Arnold would autograph the program. Complete set would cost you $27 back then. So this $27 back then is equivalent to $216 in 2026. Some of those courses were building massive arm fast, or building a fabulous chest. Another one was building the legs of an oak. Yes, you had to cut the bottom part of the page with the mail order, post it, and they will send it over the mail, all the courses, so just don't laugh, okay? It was way before the internet, okay, and mobile phones, so yeah. Anyway, so this was the last exercise for a chest, and now it's the back time, or time for a back. Chest and back muscles are opposing muscle groups, meaning they are antagonistic. So if you train chest, you don't affect performance of your back muscles regarding muscle activation. Central nervous system will be taxed though anyway. So, of course, I am starting with a warm-up. I have seen Chris Bumstead's back training on YouTube, and in one of his videos he would do warm-up that I am just doing. So 3 different reps for the lats without break. And I can tell you, this warm-up, something for a change, at least. Anyway, I am pushing blood with nutrients to my back muscles. When doing back, I am always careful about my biceps. Biceps is a secondary muscle mover in the pulling and rowing exercises. Like Dorian Yates stored his biceps doing barbell rows. So, yeah. Supinated grip lat pull down. I saw a Mike Mentzer video where he said that close grip lat pull downs is the best biceps workout. He said it's because of the angles of the biceps and shoulder, as opposed to regular biceps curls where the shoulders don't move. Well, they shouldn't move, yeah? Unless you cheat. Anyway, this exercise will hit the lower lats due to the narrow grip, and biceps is heavily involved in due to the supinated or underhand and narrow position. However, you can limit involvement of the biceps by using wrist straps and letting the weight hang on your straps without much grip. It really depends on how you want your biceps to be involved. So you can modify this exercise. If you want to achieve bigger lat activation, try to imagine that you are pulling bar not with your hands but with your elbows, and feel those lats working. In Muscle Builder magazine from September 1975 is written, following the big contest, usually from October to December, Arnold did very little, and the contest was of course Mr. Olympia. From January to April, Arnold moved into spring training, stepping it up a bit, perhaps with 10 to 12 sets for each body part. From April to July, Arnold continued with steadily increase of 15 to 18 sets a body part, but still only twice a week for each body part. After July, Arnold will go into higher gear again and doing 20 sets per body part and 3 times a week each part. And of course, Arnold reminds that the diet remains important all the time. You can go wild with the food for months at the time and expect to keep your cuts. Arnold would eat only 3 meals a day when he was training too hard. This was how the bodybuilders of the golden era trained in the off-season. And wonder why they didn't have big bellies back then. Then now all these open class bodybuilders, they are like pregnant. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. This is just different. Okay. Anyway, neutral grip lat pull down allows for a greater range of motion and better engagement of the lower lats compared to pronated grip. Biceps and brachialis are heavily involved in the pulling motion, as you know. You can modify the width of the grip, so a close neutral grip emphasizes the lower lats and biceps, while a wide neutral grip targets the upper lats and mid back more directly. I'm using this bar, but you can do close neutral grip pull down with V-bar. V-bar would be suitable. Some common mistakes to be aware of. I've seen some lifters are leaning too far back, and are using body weight to swing the bar, and on this occasion pull down is becoming raw. So they are changing the exercises, you know. So upright torso should be maintained with the control of the weight on its way down. Stop messing up your lat pull downs with the behind the neck. If you want to pick up an injury, do behind the neck pull downs. When I see some lifters doing shoulder presses from behind the neck, I am getting goosebumps. Anyway, focusing here on a full stretch at the top and pulling bar just below the chin. Well, almost. I'm stopping at my lips. I think the weight was a little bit heavier. That means that the weight used is too much, I guess. Yeah, well, of course. Well, sometimes you have to do little modifications in order to break a plateau and move forward. So yeah, so you can cheat a little bit if you hit the plateau and you must break. Then you must break this weight or this number of reps. If you saw Pumping Iron, then Arnold in the movie is doing neutral grip lat pull downs, and he is swinging body all over the place. I don't know if it was just for the movie or because he was lifting, of course, full weight for the movie. Well, okay. Anyway, diverging lat pull down primarily targets lower and outer lats. This machine is a game changer for me. I can feel lats very well using this machine. Give it a try and let me know. The wider diverging path allows for a greater range of motion, so providing better contraction in the lats. This is what I feel when I'm doing this machine. Just to note, if the diverging pull downs feel awkward at the bottom when you pull, try taking a closer grip, because a machine naturally diverges, so chances are it's just too wide at the bottom. So, you know, we have to adjust. I have seen one lifter pulling behind the neck. This is an outdated technique. Not everything what is old is gold. Come on. Of course, he was an older lifter, but you know, old habits die hard. You can't teach the dog new tricks, or how you say here, something like that. Okay. Anyway, I would allow my torso to lean back just slightly and controlling eccentric, not letting the weight just drop down. I'm using wrist straps when pulling a higher weight. This was a game changer again, since my grip would give away on 9s or 10 reps, you know, when I was doing higher reps. Not anymore, and I can focus on my lats and not on my failing grip. You know, if you pulling down and start to, and you know that the grip is failing you. That's it, you know. Mind muscle connection is gone, everything. So anyway, so in order to improve grip strength, you know, I started to do the dead hangs. You know, you just hang on the bar. So I just hang on as much as I can. Since I'm 114 kilograms or 250 pounds, of course I don't use any additional weight for now. I will see how it goes. So now I can hold maybe for 20 seconds or 25, but you know, consistency is the key. Leg raises, I just wanted to show you how I end my training session. So I would do some core exercises. Leg raises are my favorite for the lower abs. So leg raises would target the hip flexors, as these are the main drivers lifting the legs. The six-pack muscles or rectus abdominis are also heavily engaged to stabilize the torso. Arnold Schwarzenegger would break up leg raises into 2 sets of 100. Well, yeah, it was Arnold, you know. I can do 40, but no more. Sit-ups. I have changed sit-up a bit since this video. Now I'm sitting on the hams instead of my glutes. And the exercise became, of course, more difficult. And also have more protection for my lower back. Arnold would do weighted Roman chair sit-ups without stopping for 5 minutes at the beginning of the training session, as he states in Muscle Builder magazine. Then at the end of the training session, Arnold would do bend knee sit-up, 150 reps, leg raises, 150 reps. Just let me know that this is only one example of Arnold's many routines. Okay guys, this was all for today. See you in another video. Have a great time.